Yeah, so Friday, after this July sale, we've finally got through the 900 lots. I don't think it's gone too bad, to be fair.
No,
I think
it was a little bit slow starting on Wednesday.
Wednesday was a slow start, yeah.
But Thursday and today, I think we pulled it out of the bag and
Definitely had a much better feel.
a lot
yesterday
better
and
yesterday and today, a lot better feel. But it's
Loads
a lot,
of
isn't it?
internet
Because
bits.
it's 5 weeks work. It's 5 weeks worth of build up.
In 3 days.
Just for 2 or 3 days, exactly, Paul. Yeah, it is fairly draining, isn't it? It is draining. It is draining, but then that's life, isn't
I
it?
dread to think how you feel after standing up here all day. Honestly,
yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
And Paul, go in the office.
I got a headache. I have had since Wednesday lunchtime. I'm looking forward to clocking off later on, to be honest, because I seriously have got a headache. My head's spinning. There's so many numbers and there's so much goes on up there that you try and remember, so you don't have to go back through paperwork everywhere and all the rest of it. So I'm looking forward to doing them last, whatever there is, 20 up there now. And calling it a day, to be honest, But it's gone all right. We've converted a lot.
Yeah. There's been a lot of views on.
Done a lot of deals.
Yeah, there's been a lot of views on the internet side of things. Some big figures watching today. A lot of people bidding, and likewise on the telephones. To be fair, there's been a lot. Of
I think we were down a little bit on telephone numbers, weren't we?
Yes.
But what was nice to see were those that had registered for a telephone bid were actually proper buyers.
There were. Yeah.
So there's I don't obviously do the telephone bidding as such down there, obviously on the floor, on the sale room floor. But I can imagine it can be a little demoralising at times when you've got a busy folder of telephone bidders, but everyone drops out at probably about 2/3 of the car's value.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah. Drop out before it begins.
But I noticed today that the telephone bidders that we had today were serious people.
They were
prepared
actually
to buy
bidding, weren't they?
what cars were worth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly so.
Exactly.
But we're still in this difficult market, aren't we? Because there's been a bigger change, I think, in the movement this last. There's been a bigger change in the movement this last 6 months than there has been, in the last 20 years. There's been a fair old change, which was instigated. I know I hate to even mention it, but it was instigated with COVID. COVID came along, and it's changed lots of businesses, and it changed our business and our movement. And now we're still trying to get back to normal, aren't we? Because we're still, literally, trying to tick the boxes and just get everyone back to normal, really. As far as prices, that's what I'm going with. As prices, that's where I'm going with.
Yeah, and on that note, again, we're going to have to advise upon reserves and things on the way in, aren't we? I'm looking at a couple of cars here that one in particular has come with several others, none of which have sold, purely and simply because his reserves are too great. Simple as that. They might not look too bad on a photograph, but then certainly when the items have arrived, now we should have been on the phone there and then.
I feel we're getting there.
Well, we're getting better. We are getting better.
When it really did drop off, and it did drop off fairly quickly back end of last year. When it did drop off, it was an absolute nightmare back end of last year, early part of this year, January, February, March, because a lot of people didn't realise that the market had changed so much in such a short space of time. So they're coming along with cars, and just pick a figure. They're wanting £10,000, which is probably what it would have achieved during that silly time. But almost overnight, that car went down to 8,000. And trying to explain to people it's not worth 10, it's worth 8, when they've just seen, a load sell the previous year at 10 is blooming difficult. But I think everyone's getting their head around the fact that we have got a new pricing structure in the business, in the industry. There's the odd unicorn, but there always has been since God was begun. There's been the odd unicorn that just goes on and goes mega. But the masses, the 98%, they have realigned. So we're getting there, and people accept it now. They do accept the fact that it's not doing big money, don't they? There's only two reasons really that something doesn't sell, guys, and that's either it's too expensive or it's no good. or a bit of both, really, I suppose.
both, yeah.
But I think with
We are
the
still very fortunate though. We've got some lovely different varieties.
We've got
of
some
cars
lovely
still.
stock.
You can't
Lovely
you can't
stock.
knock the stock. We have got some lovely cars here. I think
lovely,
people
lovely
just got,
stock.
like you say, got to get the head around the reserves really. And I know it might I don't like really. It's tricky, isn't it? It's really tricky trying to explain to someone or value someone's car. You know, because when you're selling it, obviously you want as much as you can get, and obviously we're trying to push the reserve down for no other reason. But if you guide it too high, obviously you just don't create that interest.
No, you don't.
You know,
No.
and we're not saying the car's not worth what you expect, but for it to stand a chance initially, you need to get that interest.
You
Otherwise,
need to get that initial interest.
Yeah, you
that
do.
pre-sale.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, in all
Definitely.
fairness, though, just to sort of finish off our little chat, I do feel we're being quite critical of ourselves, because I just had a quick chat with Hannah and she put up some of the results. Basically, we're going to end up, at the end of the day, I think we're going to have a 75% success rate. And I think that's very, very good
is.
within the industry. I know there's the
Considering
odd auction house out there that boast that they're doing 95%, and all the rest of it. Really? We could do 100% if we had no reserve or very low reserve. But what we try and do, and I think I speak for all of us in the team, the whole lot, what we try and do, we try and get to a point where we have a fair result, a very fair, if we can stand back and say, that's fair, that's really, really fair. You're happy with the seller, you're happy as the buyer, we're happy, everyone's happy.
Definitely.
Rather than, God, blimey, they only got me £7,000 for the car, and, we all know it's worth 10, 11, 12. I looked through this last few weeks, more so than ever, only because I've just been looking to see what's out there. I've been looking at auction houses' results. And I won't name names and I won't name cars, but I had a chat last night with a collector, and we were on the same page with some cars. And he'd been watching a particular auction house online, and he said, I'd have been absolutely gutted if I was the owner of some of these cars, where they're knocking them out, basically, at low money.
Not
Now, we
being
all
fair,
know
are
they're
they?
worth
Yeah.
more. We all know they're worth more. We're the other way round. If I'm not comfortable, if Paul's not comfortable, I say Paul and
I've
I,
done some
because
up
we're
there
normally on
today
the
again,
phones. If
where the
we're not
vendor would have
comfortable,
took
we
the
say
bid,
no, don't we?
and I've suggested they don't,
No.
and I've managed to get some more money for some of them.
Yeah.
There's a couple that I couldn't, but there's some that I have, and even though they didn't want to take it,
No, but you
they
could have
would have
pushed them
took it.
to. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
they would. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, like you say, you try and play the game, don't you? And be fair with everybody, buyers and sellers,
This is the difference between a family operated business that are genuinely enthusiastic and they're collectors themselves, and they do it for the love of the movement, really, and those that aren't.
Well,
Facts.
I
It is
want to
facts.
deal with them both again, don't I?
Exactly.
That's it.
Whereas, you could push your way through different deals, couldn't you? And you're never going to get a deal again, are you? Off some of them vendors, one bite.
No.
Whereas I want them to come back,
you do.
I want that vendor
yeah.
or that buyer to go to that show next week and say they were really fair with me.
Yeah.
They were really fair. And if you can be really fair, completely transparent up front, tell people how it is,
Yeah.
you can't go far wrong.
No,
You can't go far wrong.
please or offend.
Yeah, they might not like it there and then.
Well, they
but
don't,
I'll
do
tell you
they?
what,
Some
later
don't.
on, when they think about it, a week or so later, and reflect back, they'll think, he probably had a point there, really. Anyhow, we can only do so much, can't we?
That's it.
Anyhow, thanks
Good.
ever so much, guys, and we'll catch you next time
See you
anyway.
later.
Ta-da.